Hi there, folks. This is a Norinco NS522, a 22 rimfire bolt-action rifle based heavily upon the Anschutz Model 54 action. Now, this particular rifle, although it's new, is also old, if that makes any sense. This particular example was built for KFS in the United States, and it never made it to the US because of the Bill Clinton ban on rifle-barreled Chinese-made firearms. So it sat in a warehouse for 20-odd years until it was purchased by a Canadian company who imported them up here into Canada. And based upon the reputation that these have as being quite accurate, I decided I'd buy one and find out for myself if they lived up to that reputation. So basically a very simple little rifle. It has a hardwood stock, which is reasonably well done with a couple of little exceptions. And it's got a medium heavyweight barrel, which apparently was made on machinery supplied by Austria. As you can see, it's got this swirl pattern on it, indicating that it was manufactured in a hammer forge machine. And the barrel is 20 inches long. It's got a target type crown. They kind of describe this as a match target rifle, but I don't think there's any sort of match that you would shoot this in. It's more of a varmint style rifle in my opinion. Comes equipped with actually two of these 5-shot detachable box magazines. These are pretty well made. Actually, the whole rifle is reasonably well put together, and it shoots quite well actually. Trigger is quite decent. We've got a fairly heavy trigger guard here, and the bottom metal is fairly heavy as well. And it's captured on there with those, I think they're Allen type bolts. Got a serrated trigger. Kind of a big ugly cut in the stock where the bolt handle comes through. I'm not sure why they did that when they could have done a better job. And there's the marks on it, KFS Atlanta, Georgia, the original importer or intended importer who never managed to get them into the US. I think there was a bunch of these that came into the States, but they're very uncommon compared to other Norinco 22s. So we'll flip it over and have a look at the other side. And as you can see, I've got a Harris bipod on this. The front swivel stud for the bipod attachment is actually very far back on the stock. It's kind of in an annoying spot. It really should be moved forward by about 4 inches or so. And also the same thing with the rear. The rear stud is way too far ahead. It really should be back about here. For some unexplainable reason, they put a ventilated rubber recoil pad on this. Obviously not something you need for a 22 rimfire, although the grippiness, it's a nice textured surface, so it does stick to your shoulder quite well, so it doesn't do any harm. It just looks maybe a little silly on a 22 rimfire. We've got a Monte Carlo style cheek piece, which is nice. This rifle doesn't have any iron sights on it. You have to put a scope on it. There's the safety catch here, rear for safe and forward for fire. There's our bolt release to take the bolt out. And the model designation, 522, caliber 22 long rifle. You can shoot any 22 long rifle round. You can manually load shorts through it, but they won't work out of the magazine. There's a little symbol there on the receiver. Receiver is grooved for standard 22 style tip-off mounts. Anyway, it's been fairly accurate little rifle. I have a cheap scope on it at the moment. We'll shoot a few shots and we'll show you what it can do. So here's the ammo I'm going to be shooting today. This is Federal Champion 22 long rifle 40 grain, and it's product number 510 if you go looking for it. And this is shoots pretty good in this rifle. See, it comes in these plastic dividers, and get the camera to focus here on the round. And there we go, just a plain 40 grain round nose bullet. So let's load some of these up and see how they do. So the rifle came with two of these 5-shot detachable box mags. They seem to be of pretty decent construction. Pretty well finished. Nice blued floor plate. You can take the floor plate off to clean them. Nothing too exciting about the way they load. They just load like any other standard 22 mag. It is good that they come with 2 mags because apparently it's exceedingly difficult to get any more beyond the 2. Should you ever come across any of these mags for sale and you're the owner of one of these rifles, you'd be foolish not to buy them if you had the opportunity. Apparently they can sell for upwards of $80 for just a single magazine. At least that's what I've heard on some of the forums. I hope to keep close track of mine though, and 2 mags should do me quite well, I guess. Well, I'm back from the range, and unfortunately my camera battery died while I was there, so I couldn't show you the group that I shot with this Federal Champion product number 510 ammunition. So I took the target with me. We've got 10 shots at 100 yards, and a pretty respectable grouping for economy type ammunition and a rifle that didn't cost a whole pile of money either. So we've got 10 shots in 1.75 inches and 9 in 1.26 inches. So keep in mind this is 100 yards. Most people test 22 rimfires at about 50 yards. 100 yards is really stretching things out for a 22 to shoot groups, especially 10 shot groups. So I'm pretty pleased with that kind of performance. Alright, before I end the video I figured I'd take the bolt out of the rifle to let you have a look at that, because of course the bolt is the sort of the heart of the action. And to remove it, pretty straightforward. Open the bolt up, pull it to the rear, push this catch right here in till it's depressed all the way. This one's really stiff. I had to actually tap it with a plastic face hammer to get it to go in far enough to let the bolt out. But I think that'll break in with a little bit of use. And then you can pull the bolt straight to the rear. This bolt being a copy of an Anschutz Model 54. Pretty standard looking setup. We've got the extractor on this side. The extractor was actually seized a bit when I got the rifle because it had been sitting in storage so long that basically it had stuck. So I had to put a little bit of oil on that and gently tap it to free it up. The extraction on this rifle's, or the ejection I should say, is a little bit sluggish. You have to work the bolt really quite vigorously to get the cases to clear the receiver. But it's not a big deal as long as you smack the bolt back hard enough, the cases eject quite well. And we've got this guide. We've got the extractor on this side, then we've got this guide on the other side which keeps the cartridge case in tight against the breech face. Fire and pinhole on the top. Rifle's been very reliable. I don't think I've had a single misfire in all the shooting I've done with it, and I think I've put probably, I'm guessing 700 or 800 rounds through it so far since I got it. And the machining on the bolt is pretty well done, especially for a Norinco product. Pretty decently put together. There's our striker here. Protrudes out the back of the bolt. You can tell if the rifle is cocked or not. If this is protruding from the back of the bolt, it is in a cocked position. And the rifle locks on the root of the bolt handle here. And also on this other side of the locking collar there's a couple of tabs here which lock into the receiver as well. So pretty decently put together excuse me, little rifle. And the action actually has a pretty crisp, precise quality to it. It doesn't have that kind of a scratchy feel that you get from some Norinco products. It actually has a very nice quality feel. When you open and close it, it feels feels like it's a rifle that should cost about 3 times the money actually. almost like a CZ. If you're familiar with a CZ 452 or number 4 or anything like that, it almost has that kind of a quality feel when you operate it. Anyway, the bolt goes back in the same way it came out. Just slide it in and ready to go again. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you found this to be of some interest, and hopefully we'll talk to you later.